Now, Merseyside Police has just confirmed the names of the three girls who were killed in Southport on Monday. They are Baby King, who was 6, Elsie Stankham, who was 7, and Alice De Silva Aguirre, who was 9. So we will stay in Southport for the next 5 minutes or so. Obviously, the town is reeling from the horrible attack on that dance and yoga class yesterday. 3 children have been killed, and police say 5 children and 2 adults remain in a critical condition. An online fundraising page has been set up by Taylor Swift fans. It's raised more than £100,000. Sefton Council has confirmed a vigil will take place later today. 9-year-old Alice Aguirre has been named as one of the victims in the last couple of hours. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper has been in Southport paying tribute to the victims.
I've been meeting with some of the first responders, the emergency services, the police, fire service and paramedics who were there yesterday and who had to respond with great bravery to make sure that more lives were not lost, and I thank them for the work that they did. There is also a serious criminal investigation underway now, but everyone's thoughts will be with those injured children and just praying for them.
Well, for more on how the attack has affected the community, we can talk to local parish priest John Hennahan. A very good afternoon from us.
Hello. Good to speak to you.
Well, very good to talk to you, but in such horrendous circumstances.
Yeah.
John, can you tell us just a little bit about your congregation and your community?
Sure. Well, I'm the parish priest at St Mary's and St Patrick's Catholic churches in Southport. So that's the kind of town centre and the north of Southport. And so it's a very big area, and a lot of people live in the area and come to the churches of St Mary's and St Patrick's.
What do people need from you at the moment?
A loving heart, a heart that cares for them. And that's exactly what they're going to get from me and the other priests and ministers around Southport. And so many other people. There's so many people of goodwill who are pouring love down upon those who've been affected by this directly, but all the rest of us who've been affected by it indirectly and whose hearts are broken for those who are grieving.
How can any of us make sense of something like this and keep our faith?
Well, there's no making sense of it at the moment. We're all just shocked. The Archbishop of Liverpool just sent us a message, and in it he said, "We're silent," just a little line from this, "We're simply silent before the tragic and senseless loss of innocent life." It's quite a striking line from the Archbishop. Simply silent. So we can't even begin to rationalise it because it doesn't make sense. What we can do, though, is love. And we can reach out to the people who've been hurt, to anyone who's traumatised. We can open our churches, our homes, our hearts and say, "I'm here for you," to listen and to give whatever I can give. It may be tears in my eyes. It may be a crackling voice. It may be just the ability to let you be yourself and let things out that are hurting you and disturbing you so much. But that can make such a difference to people. And that's what we'll do. We'll just do our best, little as it may seem.
We do get these reports about some anger brewing in certain parts of, it might not even be your community, John, people from outside the community of Southport. There's something building, maybe because of fake news reports about the identity and status of the 17-year-old being held. Have you felt that or heard anything about that too?
No, I haven't heard anything at all. All I've heard and all I feel at the moment, or I'm feeling from people, is heartbreak. You know, we had mass at 12 o'clock. There were people, you know, mature adults just openly weeping in the church. So the people are just feeling just full of compassion. So far from anger, it's compassion, it's love, it's heartbreak, it's disbelief, but it's a desire to be of help in whatever way we can. And sometimes that's just by crying for the family, crying with the family when we hear the stories that are coming out of the 3 little ones who've died and the others who are still critically ill. That's what our focus on. It seems to everybody who come to me, and there's been a lot in the last 48 hours, 24 hours, that's all that they're coming out with, a heartache and a desire to help in any way.
There's a vigil being held later on today. Are you going to attend that?
We've got our own little vigil here at St Mary's. So a lot of the churches will probably open. We've been open all day so that anyone can pop in and light candles. So it's open now. and the church has got display there just to try and help people if they want to come and light candles. Sometimes they find that helpful. And tonight will be open both at St. Mary's and at St. Patrick's for anyone who wants to come. So it'll just be a time of prayer and space. So, and that's great that they're having a vigil. I think it's the Atkinson, is it? Yeah. But we'll have, many of the churches will open anyway, just in case people in those areas can't get to the centre of town, then they can come to the church if they wish.
Obviously, this is something that affects your community, John, but I think it affects everybody, actually, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it affects
absolutely.
anybody with a heart just
Oh.
feels absolutely miserable at, the horrendous sense of loss that people will feel for the whole of their lives. And
Yeah.
I wonder what advice you might have for the relative strangers, actually, who find themselves deeply affected.
Yeah, well, I think this is something that actually unites us in grief. So whatever creed, or the colour of our skin, whatever church we belong to, or religion we have, or none, we're all human beings. And if you've got a good heart, then you're going to care. And that unites us together. So I would say to all strangers, to those who are distressed, your hurt, your love, your sadness for the family is precious. You might not want to call it prayer, but it could be known as prayer, even if it's without words, just your tears, your compassion for the family, your suffering with them. That's precious. Thank you for the gift of your caring.
John, thank you very much indeed for joining us this afternoon, and all the best to your community. That's John Hennihan, who is talking to us from Southport.
Such a tragic event, but there has been heroism. There's been incredible bravery in that experience, and I think perhaps as the days go on and we find out more about what happened and who was prepared to go in there and try and help the children, and indeed the teacher who was taking the class, who we know has had surgery today. She was quite badly injured, but she risked her own life to try to protect the children. So, and also it's worth saying that Taylor Swift's fans are a very generous lot, and they've already raised, I think, £100,000. So, I mean, that is incredible. It was a Taylor Swift themed dance session, and Swifties they're a kindly lot. And I think that is just worth noting, isn't it? That people, it's a terrible event, but in the midst of that event, there's been not just kindness, but tremendous bravery. So let's just hope that we are able, over the next couple of days, to give a certain amount of attention to those people who went beyond and just risked their own lives.
So John Hennigan there, local priest, on hand and giving some of the kind of support that no doubt people there, numbers of people there may well need. That emotional, that an ear to hear what they have to say, a shoulder to lean on, just something that you can imagine if you are lucky enough, like most of us, not to experience such an awful thing that you can imagine you might just need at a time like this. And Norman Willis is also there on hand doing, it seems, something to try to help. Norman Willis is Chief Executive of the Southport Pleasureland. And, well, Norman, welcome to the programme.
Thank you. It's Wallace, actually.
Norman Wallace, forgive me for that mispronunciation. Norman, tell me your role now, the role you've taken on and the mission you've given yourself. How are you seeking to help?
Well, the whole community is distraught, but it's impossible to really know how those parents and people directly affected feel. The community in Southport is very close. I won't say everyone knows everyone, but everyone knows someone that knows everyone else. And everyone is coming together to do what they can in this terrible time. We are going to create a fundraiser for the hospitals, Southport Hospital, Formby Hospital and Alder Hey. It's at times like this you realise that you really need these places, and how underfunded they are. So we're going to try and bring the community together to help raise funds for these hospitals that we all need and hopefully don't need in these circumstances ever at all again.
Yeah, again, that's really interesting, Norman. I mean, so you're now set up a system, some sort of way of raising funds, but it's not directly for people who are touched by this. This is about, it's really about bringing people together and showing that you all care about each other and you recognise the support that's on hand. It's doing something as a community. It's that kind of thing. It's doing it together that counts, rather than giving specific support.
Yes, very important to come together and support one another in these times. Southport is a great place to live, work and to visit. As you know, we're a tourist destination, and there are still thousands of people coming every day. And the town is very safe. This was an isolated incident in a residential area committed by a 17-year-old, and we're yet to find out why he's done this. But the area is very safe. It's a great community and a great place to live and work at Southport. And we have other things coming up, such as the flower show and all sorts of things that are being prepared now. And we should say, please, Southport is a very, very safe place to be.
Well, again, it's another important message, and I guess, Norman, just having someone to talk to and someone to listen for a lot of people, that's of such value, isn't it? I mean, have you managed to speak to many of those who were most closely touched by this around that dance class?
No, because it would be disrespectful to try and do that at the moment. They're surrounded by the police and others that are perhaps more in a better place than myself. Although I do know people that are directly affected. So, everyone's talking about it. Everyone wants to do what they can. But what they've got to be careful of is social media and spreading incorrect information. Things have got to be true and correct. And, the spreading of incorrect information on social media can cause anxiety, fear, and create more harm than good.
That is an important point. I mean, it is all too predictable in some ways. It's absolutely inevitable. But you will see people, I don't know, just gravitating towards an awful thing like this and spreading, as you say, false rumours, just entirely false accounts of what might or might not have gone on. And we're also seeing those, some of them from the fringes of politics seizing on this and making it, I don't know, an opportunity, a political opportunity. In some ways it's distasteful to a lot of people, but it is inevitable, Norman, isn't it? Norman,
yeah, it's inevitable. That unfortunately, that's human nature.
Yeah.
These things happen, and in politics, it just seems to be the way it goes. If there's an opportunity for a photograph or a soundbite of some kind, it happens. But they are human beings themselves, and sometimes they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. So they're all in a very difficult situation. The main thing is caring for the people that this tragedy has fallen upon, and doing the right thing. We've got to do the right thing, whatever that is. And for each of us, that may be something different.
Yeah, but something I gather is going on is vigils. They have already been taking place, haven't they? Can you tell us anything much about that?
Tonight at 6 o'clock, I believe there's a vigil in front of the town hall.
Yeah. And
I'll be there, and I'm sure there will be so many people there because, as I said, Southport is a very tight community. People do speak their mind, which is a good thing, but they also do come together in all types of ways. Unfortunately, this situation is terrible, and hopefully it will never happen again.
Oh, well, we can all agree on that, I hope. Norman Wallace, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much.